fractional points for every yard, I would have won.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
98-98, the first tie of the season, and the win goes to the Hong Kong Cavaliers for having a better bench. Hong Kong goes to 5-0, 5-game winning streak, only undefeated team left in the league. And Bob, you're down to 0-5. First, this one is got to be a little bit on you though. You good pickup with that Durham wide receiver on the Lions, but who the fuck is? I don't even know his first. I don't even know his first. That's his first name. K. Robinson. You're starting him at your flex. He got 0 points. I know he's on the Saints, but what the fuck?
The 2 weeks prior, he led the Saints in carries and rushing yards. Mostly in
what's that, like 6 carries for like 14
No, he had
yards?
like 12. He had 12, so it was mostly in garbage time. But I figured, he would do that again, and
well, you were wrong. And
unfortunately, I was wrong.
Cost you a win.
So did not starting Phillip Rivers, which I had a couple people tell me to do. But
yeah, but I think maybe starting Gibson in your
putting
flex
Gibson, as he was originally.
K. Robinson,
as he was originally.
So you now are in the midst of a 7-game losing streak, and the losing streak continues.
That's all right now, whatever.
The next game, the Pig Newtons and myself, the Riverdale Scoopers. Pig Newtons defeated me 107-86. Bob, anything regarding that game you wanted to point out?
Nope.
Okay. Pig Newtons go up to 4-1. I dropped down to 3-2. Pig Newtons did defeat me by having both his starting quarterback and running back get hurt. And he still beat me.
Yeah, I'm actually
kind of sucks. It's a bad loss for me.
I'm actually I'm curious to see what Phil's gonna do at quarterback.
Well, by the time you're all listening to this, you probably already know. And I don't know. Maybe he'll pick up Nick Foles or whatnot.
If he can get him.
Right. So we'll see about that. Phil's won 4 in a row on a bit of a hot streak. The next game was the.
Real quick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I completely cut you off.
Yes.
If you were to guess how many points, fantasy points, David Wilson had this year,
in this game,
this year, what would you say?
5
games.
The average like 3 to 6 per game. 30? 34.
Sir, you are not even close.
What is
13.
That is disgusting.
13 points, and he scored a touchdown.
I know. 2nd round pick, David Wilson, terrible.
I'm sorry. No, 13.
Phil said if he didn't take Wilson, he would have taken Chris Johnson, who's not doing much better.
Yeah, well, he's
so
not.
How the
he's
fuck
not
is Phil 4-1?
He's not doing 13. I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you what, Phil has the easiest schedule in the league right now. So that's
son of a bitch.
Part of it. That's part of it. The Brutal Deluxe up against the VIP on Swole. A little pat on the back for myself here. I actually picked Brutal to beat VIP, which happened.
It was not special.
Although Coach Heaney did have, he was in the, delivery room at the time, so he certainly has a good excuse. Brutal won 116-107, gets his first win, 1-4. VIP drops to 3-2. The next game, Soul Glow versus the Handy Quacks. Wow, you know what? I'm gonna hand it to Soul Glow. I was very wrong when it came to this game. I think I said Handy Quacks would get like a 20-something point favorite. And Soul Glow defeats Handy Quacks 123-96. He now goes to 3-2. Bub, is Soul Glow a contender?
Peyton Manning is single-handedly carrying his team.
Yeah.
Single-handedly.
I would actually, I would like a breakdown if possible. Not right now because it'll probably take too long. But like percentage-wise, how many points Peyton has for the Soul Glow versus the rest of his team? Probably like 50 at least.
I personally don't think his team is very good. I mean,
but he keeps winning.
He does keep winning, and again, a lot of that's Peyton. But he's starting Nate Washington, Golden Tate, and Ted Ginn on his team. That's pretty bad.
So,
but I'm 0-5. He's 3-2. So
sure,
good for him.
Sure. And then the next game, we can't gloss over Handy Quacks. Actually, goes down to 1-4. We all now see what has occurred with him. Completely going on a selling spree. Let's get into that a little bit more later in the show, though. This Rockdalian Senators against the
the Rockdalian Senators beat the Rapists.
Yes,
that's interesting. Did someone say that was going to happen?
Good call, Bub. Good call.
Thank you.
And I actually took your call, and I ran with it in my pick'em picks, and that got me a win there. But no, that was a great call. Unfortunately, you didn't make that pick.
I made my picks Tuesday morning before the podcast.
You could have made a change. I'm sure Ben would have been fine with you sending a little change.
At that point.
At that point, you said, fuck it. Well, 156 to 125. Big win for Will. We called him out last week. He had to win this game, and he stepped up and certainly did. This is actually the 11th time that Will has led the league in most points, which is actually third all time.
Wow.
A lot of you probably wouldn't realize that. Again, Will had a pretty good team back in the day in Era 1. And then the Rapist, he gets his first loss. Still has the most points in the league. So sitting there at 4-1. But man, the Julio Jones injury is pretty big.
That hurts.
We'll see how he makes up for that. And then the last game was the Yellow Peril versus the Boston Loggers. A pretty shitty ass game, very low scoring. 83-77. Peril gets the victory. Loggers drops down to 2-3. And Jay Young did make a bit of a risky start, starting Matt Bryant, his kicker of the Falcons, on Monday night. He was already up by a couple points. Bryant could have missed a couple field goals and got him a loss, but that's not what happened. And Peril gets the victory, and there we go, Bob. That's it.
Stop everything. Seek shelter. Run for the hills. We have ourselves breaking news from the world of the Dynasty.
So, Bub, we're in that point of the season. We got ourselves quite an update here, so without further ado, we should just probably get right into it. A lot of you who follow the Riverdale Gazette Twitter page may already be aware of some of these happenings, Bub. We've had a lot of late-breaking information here. Tell us a little bit what's going on Twitter.
There's a lot of action on Twitter right now.
Mm-hmm. Any one in particular? Anything crazy going on right now that you want to point out?
Well, it said just about half an hour ago, Maurice Jones-Drew.
Half an hour ago, our time.
Yes,
which is not the time you're listening right now.
It's Eastern Non-Standard Time. Just left Handy Quack's headquarters for the airport wearing a yellow shirt. That's all he was wearing.
Okay.
So just a yellow shirt. Reggie Wayne just arrived at Arlington Police Department for a Corey check. Aaron Rodgers said, my goal this year is to make it to the playoffs. I need to be on a team with a track record of postseason appearances.
Well, if I'm reading between the lines, that's one of two teams, in my opinion. Right, Bob?
Yeah, notice he didn't say, I want to be on a championship team. That's
exactly.
Vernon Davis left practice today. Calvin Johnson was spotted playing catch with Joe St. Dennis.
Oh, wow.
And yes.
Just a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff.
We've been handed a thank you, chimpanzees. I got a chimp, one of our chimp.
Good job.
Good guy.
Good job, little boy.
He's a good guy. This thing is full.
It's actually pretended to pat the chimp.
You pretended?
Yeah.
That wasn't a chimp. All right. Zach's a seller. His very interesting selling tactics going on.
Yes.
He's got that buy it now feature. What do you think about that? Kind of cool.
I personally,
you don't like it.
If that was me, I wouldn't have done that.
Okay.
But that's his own prerogative.
Okay. Well, let's get into some of these trades. By the way, Will DeYoung, who we already talked about getting a warning, which is so like Dynasty 3. Like, really? You're getting a warning in Week 8, Week 5? Come on.
Clean it up.
We're better than that. Anyway, replying all to an email. Jesus Christ. Jeez.
I like John's idea.
Yes.
There should be a thing on the spreadsheet. People who have the Reply All Club.
Maybe that, you know what? Maybe Chris, maybe that could be a negative achievement. Not really something we could track down in prior years, but starting from like next year on.
And the best part was that Brian made fun of him for it, and then the next day Brian did the same thing.
All right, so we got a bunch of trades here to report, and Bub, I want to remind you what we talked about a couple weeks ago. We're going to tell the people what we really think.
Yes.
Everybody is open to criticism. We are not focusing on anyone in particular. You guys can feel free to respond in many ways if you don't like what we have to say, but that's what we're doing. So if you don't like it, don't listen. All right.
Yeah, fuckers.
The Rapists, they are getting Arian Foster and Seattle's defense from Handy Quacks for a second-round pick and Buffalo's defense. I think the Bills' defense was just thrown in there.
Yes.
Feelings of the trade, Bubba.
I think.
Give us your real feeling.
No,
if you think it's good, that's fine. But give us your real feeling.
I personally, I think it's a pretty fair trade. I think Foster's shown some potential to break out. I know he hasn't really broken out yet, but obviously he's Arian Foster. Seattle's defense is really good, and I think for a second round pick, I think that's pretty fair.
Rapists. I mean, Gore and Foster there too. Good at running back. Gore has been